Something I've never told anybody until now. Let me tell you about it. When I was between maybe 6 and 7 years old. My mother took us to the Sacramento Zoo, and I was having a lot of fun looking around. Um, I had stopped by to see the hippopotamuses. And as I was standing there enjoying the sight of watching the hippopotamuses swim, I noticed one of them started coming up out of the pool toward a group of little boys that were standing on the other side of the hippopotamus pen. And they had this bag with them. And I thought at first they were throwing oranges at the hippopotamuses. But as I got a little bit closer to them, I realized that it wasn't oranges that they were giving to the one hippo. It was actually tennis balls. Immediately, I ran off to try to find my mother so I can tell her what I had just saw. I mean, I'm only 6 or 7 years old. I thought going to your parents was the thing to do back in the 70s. I didn't know that I could go up to any person that worked at the park, which I didn't see any, and tell them what these boys or these kids were doing. But right at that point, I was getting ready to pass the elephants. And these little boys, to my surprise, were right behind me. They must have seen me ran off or something and got scared. I don't know, maybe something spooked them. I don't think they knew that I was going to tell. Obviously, I didn't say nothing. And the next thing I know is when I couldn't find my mom, I ran back to the elephants because I wanted to see the elephants. And these boys were standing there throwing tennis balls or handing tennis balls to the elephants. And the elephants would curl their trunks up, stick it in their mouth, try to chew it, and then spit it back out. So I was like really happy at that point that the elephants knew the difference between false food, no food at all, and real food. So that made me kind of happy. But yet, I still had this problem that was on my mind about these little boys feeding the one hippopotamus tennis balls, and that sucker was eating them too. I mean, I swear he ate probably like three of them. Well, by the time I found my mom, she was ready to go because we had already been through the zoo. Sacramento Zoo back then was a really small zoo. It wasn't as big as like where I live in Fresno, the big Fresno Zoo and stuff. But it was a really small zoo. So we left. I did tell my mom about it, but after we left, so there was really nothing she can do. She tried calling the people at the zoo, but to no avail. She got no answer. However, 2 days later, it came up on the news that the hippopotamus had died. And when they did the autopsy of why it died, they found three of the tennis balls in the gut of the hippo, and that's probably what did it in. So, I felt so bad. I was just a child, but I felt bad, and I started crying because I just love that hippopotamus. I used, every time we went to the zoo, that's the first thing I would go see is the hippopotamuses. For some reason, I love hippopotamuses. I don't know why, but anyway, nothing you can do about it. Thanks for listening.